So, a while back I looked at this series in passing and then promptly moved on. And honestly, that's been bothering me ever since. Because every now and then you stumble across a show that's so weird, so unapologetically itself, that it deserves more than just a passing reference or a throwaway line. It deserves a proper look, the kind where you unpack why it worked, why it stuck in your head years later, and why it managed to build a cult following despite never fitting neatly into the mainstream sci-fi box. And that's exactly what happened here. This is one of those shows that slipped through the cracks of popular discussion. It wasn't the big glossy franchise like Star Trek or the BBC's long-running juggernaut Doctor Who. Instead, it lived in the strange late-night corners of television. Discovered by word of mouth and the occasional confused viewer, wondering what on earth they'd just stumbled into. Looking back, that's part of its charm. The show never tried to be safe. It leaned into the bizarre, the surreal, and the dark humor that defined a lot of late 90s cult sci-fi. Messy, outrageous, and sometimes ridiculous, but also wildly imaginative in ways most modern shows wouldn't dare attempt. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Daemon, and today I'm looking at one of the strangest sci-fi series ever made, Lexx. For this video, I'm focusing on Season 1, Tales from a Parallel Universe, where everything begins. So the story actually kicks off thousands of years earlier, with the destruction of the Brunnen-G homeworld. Their champion, Kai, launches this utterly suicidal attack against the tyrant known as his Shadow, who, by the way, rules over the oppressive divine order that controls the League of 20,000 planets. The attack, unsurprisingly, fails. Kai is killed, stripped of his memories, and then resurrected as an undead assassin, forced to serve the regime for the next 2,000 years. Grim stuff, honestly. Fast forward a bit, and we meet Stanley H. Tweedle. Honestly, the most unlikely captain you could ever imagine. Stan isn't a hero, not by a long shot. He's a cowardly Class 4 security guard who somehow just keeps failing upward, mostly through sheer bad luck. It's kind of impressive in a way. After getting tangled up with this resistance group called the Austral B Heretics, Stan ends up on the Cluster, which is the capital world of the Divine Order. There he meets Zev Bellringer, who's a prisoner sentenced to, well, love-slave transformation. But when a giant cluster lizard attacks the lab during the process, the whole procedure goes wrong. Instead of becoming a submissive servant, Zev turns into a human-lizard hybrid. And honestly, she manages to trick the system into programming the supervising robot head, 790, as the love slave instead, which of course means the robot head ends up hopelessly obsessed with her. You couldn't make this stuff up. So, during a prison break and, well, general chaos across the cluster, Stan and Zev stumble into the Divine Order's secret weapons lab, where they discover something extraordinary, a living starship. The ship introduces itself as the Lexx, a gigantic machine-insect hybrid capable of destroying entire planets. Thanks to a strange energy key transferred into him by a dying rebel, Stan becomes its captain, which honestly means the most incompetent man in the universe now controls the most powerful weapon in existence. Season 1 then becomes a bizarre cosmic road trip through the Dark Zone. Along the way, the crew pick up Kai, who regains his memories and turns against his shadow, and they encounter strange civilizations, grotesque creatures, and the lingering horrors left behind by the Divine Order. The season builds toward a final confrontation with the last surviving insect, the monstrous Giga Shadow. And, in typical Lexx fashion, the solution is completely insane. Kai plants a baby cluster lizard inside it, which, devours the creature's brain from the inside out. It's grotesque, absurd, and honestly unforgettable. One of the easiest comparisons people make is with Red Dwarf. Both shows revolve around a group of misfits, drifting through space aboard a ship with its own personality. Both center on an underqualified human everyman trying desperately to survive in an indifferent universe. And both feature an oddball mix of living, dead, and artificial characters bouncing off each other in absurd situations. But the similarities mostly end there. Where Red Dwarf is essentially a British sitcom in space, Lexx is something far darker and stranger. Its humor is pitch black, its storytelling is surreal, and its tone constantly swings between cosmic horror, satire, and outright weirdness. In ways that few science fiction shows ever attempted, it's often been described as a kind of kink-enabled sci-fi fever dream, and honestly, that's not far off the mark. Despite its reputation for outrageous imagery and dark humor, the show actually has a surprising amount of depth. Beneath the bizarre surface, there are recurring themes about morality, fatalism, reincarnation, and the meaning of existence. The crew themselves aren't heroes in the traditional sense. They're selfish, cowardly, morally compromised, or literally undead, yet somehow they still manage to stumble into moments of genuine heroism. And yes, let's be honest, a part of the show's cult appeal was the cast. Zinnia Seberg's Zev, who doesn't enter the picture until later in the series, became iconic for the show's unapologetic 90s sci-fi aesthetic, while Michael McManus's Kai remains one of the coolest characters ever to walk onto a television set. Pale, emotionless, dressed in black, and capable of killing someone with little more than a toothpick. Even the production itself adds to the show's strange charm. As a Canadian-German co-production, Lexx had an unusual international flavor, shooting in places like Namibia and Thailand while combining European surrealism with North American sci-fi storytelling. Sure, the CGI sometimes looks dated now, and that's the fate of almost every 90s sci-fi show. But the practical sets, bizarre creature designs, and sheer imagination behind the series still hold up surprisingly well. And that's why Season 1 remains memorable. It didn't just introduce a strange sci-fi show. It built a universe where absolutely anything could happen. And honestly, television could use a bit more of that madness. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally, I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.